Hello, and welcome, my friends, to the next video in the Create Better Content series, where I show you how to tap into your creativity so that you can stay consistent with your marketing and reach more customers. My name is Penny, and I'm going to be your guide through this content development process. I want to teach you how to create more engaging content, more remarkable content for your social media, for your sales pages, email sequences, all of those things combined to help you reach more qualified customers. And if you want to learn more about creativity and how this can help you develop your content marketing plans, I would love to see you hit that button below and subscribe to this channel. And below in the description box, there are links, lots of links. One of the links that you're going to see is for the Content Calendar Blueprint program. It's an email-based training. It's a guide that's going to be more than just how to set up your content calendar, but it actually helps you learn how to do everything from developing your content that goes into the content calendar to creating a routine and a workflow so that you can stay more consistent. And another link that you're going to see is so that you can join us in the Marketing Strategy Collective. This is a group program that I have that we get together on Patreon. And every month we have a monthly session where we all meet in person so we can talk about what's happening with our businesses and how we can get some help. And it's an opportunity for you to actually not be doing your marketing in a solo bubble and get some help that you most likely need. So you see the links and you know what to do to learn more. All right, let's get into today. Let's get into today's video because we're still talking about evergreen content, but what I want to do is I want to get real specific into this particular part of evergreen content and how it's going to help your business. Because if you think about evergreen content, you may be thinking to yourself, how is it that some of my content continues to attract people reading it or watching my video? How is it that some of my content is still driving traffic even years after I've hit that post button? Well, the secret lies actually in the content of your content and whether it's still relevant no matter when somebody finds it. So I want to talk about this because I want to talk about the fact that there is a really good chance that you have a piece of content that could be doing, okay, or could have been doing better because you know that this piece of content is timeless. You know that this piece of content has value to it. So what is it that you can do to update this piece of content and turn it into something that's evergreen, that turn into something that's going to consistently drive traffic to your website? Create something that's going to increase engagement, and have people comment and share it and all of those things. So let's go through all of this. So let's go through the steps. And I don't want to talk about how to choose a piece of content because I have done many videos on that. And if you look through my videos, you will see, or if you even run a search on my videos for evergreen content, you're going to find a whole bunch of those. So I don't want to get into that today. What I really want to do is I want to go through the steps, the specific things that you need to do to update this content and turn it into something that is going to be consistently driving traffic. So let's just say you've already chosen the piece of content. Whether it's a blog post, whether it's a video series, whether it's one video, whether it's a long form blog post, one of those blog posts that goes several pages, but it's so in depth that people will go read every single one of those pages just to see this information. So let's say you've picked this out. And remember, this evergreen content that you're going to create is it's a topic that is going to be relevant. It's not going to be connected to a trend. It's not going to be connected to a current event. It's not going to be connected to something seasonal. It's going to be something that no matter when I land on it, no matter when I find it in my Google search, no matter when the video comes up, it's still relevant. So I want to start with that piece. So if we're looking at our content, let's talk about how to update it. So when we update our content, we want to make sure that we are removing anything that is sensitive copy. You want to make sure that you're removing dates. And for those of you who have like a WordPress site, and you're not able to change out the date because maybe the way that your theme is set up, that anytime that you post something up there, the date automatically comes up there. So if your website is set up like that, then just put like a little note up at the very top of the blog post that says, maybe in red bold letters, this post has been updated, and da 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 da, this date. So people don't look at the date and go, why would I be paying attention to this? This is like, 5 years old. This information can't be, this information can't be relevant to me. So make sure you do things like that. But I also want you to take a look at kind of the copy that's in there. Did you write things like recently or last year, or, instead of just saying in 2025, the latest trends are, opt for saying something like, currently, or current trends in the market include. So think about how your wording is actually referring to specific timelines. So take a look at some of those copy points and go through it. It's just going to be a real quick glimpse, but you may, by looking through your copy, you may see a date there. You may see something that is, kind of time stamped in a way, and you want to, rewrite that copy, change out the dates. And like I said before, if you're not able to physically change out the dates because that's the way that your blog is set up, then just make sure that you put some sort of indication up at the top of it so that we all know it when we land on it, that even though it says, 2017 on it, it's actually been updated in 2025. And so when we're talking about copy, let's also talk about making sure that as you're going through this, that you are using clear and concise language. And I mean non-industry jargon. I mean the type of things, like those complex terms that maybe you and people who work in your business understand, acronyms that you guys have, that you use that make sense to you but don't make sense to anybody else. Sometimes what I like to say is when I have people talking and when I'm working with my clients and I have them working through their copy and they start talking about things and I look at them and I say, I don't know what that means. I have 2 college degrees and I am highly educated, but the fact that I don't even know what you're just saying means that there's a lot of people out there that don't know what you're saying. So as you're looking through your copy, make sure that your content is accessible. Make sure that it's clear to anybody. And if you find yourself going through your copy and you've got a lot of, industry jargon and the way that you all speak to each other, but not to us, go in there and change that, because that's going to be a huge help for you, especially as you're updating everything. And as you keep updating things, I also want you to think about how you can structure it. Especially if you had written this, let's say you've got a blog post and you wrote this like 5 years ago and you had such great information and such great research and you just, poured it all out and it's just out there and it's really great stuff. And this is that piece that you were looking at thinking, this is really great, valuable information. This could be a go-to resource and I don't know why it's not getting any traction. Well, maybe what's happening too is the way that people are not able to read it. Maybe it's just long paragraphs and it's paragraph after paragraph after paragraph, and it's not just 1 or 2 sentences in a paragraph. Maybe you've got like 10 sentences in a paragraph, which is really hard to read on a computer. But now imagine doing that on your phone. You're scrolling. Most people are going to give up. So what I'm asking you to do is take that amazing blog post, take all of that go-to resource information and break it up. Create headings, create subheadings, create areas where you can bullet point things. Think about how you would break it down into manageable sections. Think about how bullet points and number lists can help with readability, especially if you're overhauling an entire section. It's going to help people, especially if they start skimming and especially if they're reading on their phone. I think that we can all put 2 and 2 together, that we know that sentence ahead of it and then the bullet points are still a complete thought. It's still a complete complete solution to what it is that you're sharing. So don't think that if you're breaking up your content that you're taking away from its value. So think about that as you're looking through your content and you're looking through how to update it. You can make sure that you can move things like move it around. So while you're doing it, also check on your phone and make sure, as I'm looking on my phone, is that blog post look any better? Is it making it any easier to read? And when we talk about timely information, I want to add this one more piece in here because I forgot to at the very beginning of it. But if you do need to include time sensitive information, because if that is part of what your business does and how you operate, and you can't not have time sensitive information, what you can do is you can create like a sidebar. You can create a little image, or you can put a little graph or something in something that's going to be completely separate from the entire blog post, something that's going to be easier to update or remove. And then at the top of it, call it something like, I don't know, like latest updates. And then this could be the section that gets updated. This could be the section that, let's say that you've got data points in there, and then every year a new data point comes out. And it's really important that this data point is involved into this information that you're sharing. So maybe you create like a little section, like a little sidebar called it latest updates. And that's the area where you put, what's going on. In 2025, it's this. In 2017, it was this. But now in 2025, it's this. So it gives us the clue that you know that you have updated this information, and we know that you've updated this information. So it's just about really sharing that this has been updated to whoever is landing on this content. And then the next thing I want you to do is, after you've gone and done all that, and you've reposted it, and you've reshared it, and you've repurposed it, don't forget to take that extra step with your Evergreen. Don't just put it up there and go, there you go, I've cleaned it up, now it should be giving me some traffic, because it's not going to until you start to share it. You can start to share it on your social media post. You can repurpose it into smaller videos. You can repurpose it into YouTube shorts, into Instagram reels, into TikTok videos. You can repurpose it into smaller pieces of content to use on social media. All of those things are going to help you start to drive traffic back to that original blog post or video or whatever it is that you just updated. So the next thing I want you to think about doing is, after you've done that, make sure you put in your calendar. Make sure you block this off, regular content audits. Schedule a time to review this content. Schedule a time to review any content of yours that is doing really, really well. And the only way that you're going to tell it's doing really well is when you start doing a content audit, when you start checking your insights, when you look at your analytics on Google to see where people are landing, when you look at your post-specific insights in each one of the social platforms. You can see which ones are doing well, and you can see which ones are not. So what I want you to do is, when you're doing a content audit, and you can schedule this like every 6 months. This is not something you have to do every single month, maybe every 6 months. So you go through this every your 6 month. You've blocked off some time to do your content audit, and I want you to go back through that copy. Look to make sure it's accurate, make sure it's relevant. And if you do need to do some updates, that's the time to do it. And like I said before, if you've got something that is time sensitive, that is a huge piece of this piece of content that you're sharing, in your little box up at the top that say latest updates, update your latest update. Check for broken links. Look for opportunities to expand or improve the content. There could be a really good chance since the 6 months that you wrote this, that a new app has come up. A new resource is available to help people, or maybe the resource that you were promoting in your content is no longer in existence, or it's called something else. You want to make sure that you've updated this information. And monitor these performances. Like I said, the best way that you're going to tell what's working and what's turning into Evergreen is by tracking it. Tracking your page views, tracking your engagements, even track your keyword rankings. See where are you showing up in a keyword ranking. Take a look at the keywords that you're utilizing. Is there something that's changed over the last 6 months that you might need to incorporate a different long tail keyword phrase? Something that more people are searching for this particular keyword versus this one. And also, during that 6 months that's gone by, and you've gotten some people who have shared it, or maybe you've gotten some people who've commented or engaged, pay attention to those comments. Look at the questions and suggestions and things that are happening when people are interacting with your content. And this is a great way to tell if there's a place that you need to enhance this content. Input from people who are directly needing this solution, needing this resource, needing this information, is going to make sure that your content is meeting their needs. Because there's a really good chance that if some people are saying, well, what about this and what about this, and if you keep sharing this and the same question keeps coming up and you realize that your content has not answered that question, you could do one of two things. Number one, you can add your answer to whatever it is the question is that people are asking, make sure that gets incorporated into the content. Or if it's such a huge question that a lot of people are really asking, and you know that this is something that you can answer, and you can turn it into another great piece of evergreen content. So paying attention to what's going on in the comments, pay attention to what's going on with the engagement and the way people are interacting with your content, because that is going to make sure that you know that this content is answering what they're looking for. It is helping them with their needs. And so when we do this, when we create this evergreen content and maintain this evergreen content, it is going to help us. It's going to help us continue to drive traffic to our website. It is going to help us continue to connect with people in our community. And so when we're looking at our content, we want to make sure, A, that this is a timeless topic. B, that we are writing in a clear and concise manner and we are not using our industry jargon. C, we have structured this for easy updates and for easy reading. And D, we are implementing a regular maintenance routine. These are all the things that we need to do to make sure that not only do we have some great evergreen content, but it is still staying consistent. It's like, it's future proofing. it's future proofing your content so that you know that it's going to continue to be relevant, and it's going to continue to provide value for your community for not just days or months, hopefully years. So I'd like you to take a moment. I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you. That's the word I'm looking for. I want to challenge you to review your existing content. I want you to think about how you can identify pieces of content that can be transformed into evergreen. And I want you to apply all of the stuff that we talked about, all of the things that I've shared about timeless topics, about making sure the way you're writing, to make sure that the structure is there for easy readability, maintaining this routine to double check and to make sure that everything is updated and your links are still working, and all of these things combined, because everything that I've just described to you in today's video are the strategies that are going to enhance the longevity of your content. And when you follow these steps, you're going to start to develop a more robust content longevity plan. And this is going to help you keep your post relevant, engaging, and valuable well into the future after you've hit that post and publish button. So thank you so much for joining me today on this creative journey. If you've enjoyed this content about content development, I hope you'll hit the share button and let's keep this conversation going. And if you're just done with doing this on your own and you are just one of these people who are looking for help, whether you're a solopreneur, whether you are working with a team and you are the one that is managing everything, I would love to see you join us in the Marketing Strategy Collective program. We meet on Patreon to help you get personalized feedback with your marketing efforts. We also have a monthly Zoom call where we can personally, one-to-one, help you work through your content ideas, your sales pages, your email sequences, or even help you set up with your evergreen content. I would love to see you stop working in a solo bubble and work in a collaborative space and join us on Patreon so we can help you with your marketing efforts. Because you are magnificent, my friend. And let me be the first to say, I'm proud of you. Until next time.